Rittenhouse was acquitted on all charges. We have the details. Could the death penalty be abolished in the state of Oklahoma? And President Biden's $1.9 trillion legislation passes to the Senate. This is OU Nightly.
I stand by what the jury has concluded. The jury system works and we have to abide by it.
You just heard President Biden give his thoughts on the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. Hello and thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Olivia Dague.
And I'm Jessie Klinger. Tonight we begin with news out of Wisconsin and a trial that has been closely watched by the nation. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 18-year-old who fatally shot 2 people during a Wisconsin protest last year, was found not guilty on all counts today. Cameron Joyner has the details.
Kyle H. Rittenhouse not guilty.
Prosecutors struggled to overcome Rittenhouse's claim that he acted in self-defense on the night of the shootings. 2 weeks of testimony and evidence was centered around a day-long turn on the stand for Rittenhouse himself.
It's been a long 3 weeks. We're very happy with the verdict. We're happy that the jury took the time, put in an incredible amount of effort.
Rittenhouse's trial divided the nation over questions about gun rights, violence at racial protests, and vigilantism. The 2 victims were gathered to protest the killing of Jacob Blake by Kenosha police at the time of the shooting.
We deserve the respect of this country. We deserve to walk the streets of this country. We deserve to march and rally peacefully without having our supporters murdered in the streets.
Cameron Joyner, OU Nightly.
The city of Kenosha expects to see more protests throughout the weekend following the verdict.
The news of Julius Jones' clemency being granted has raised huge questions around the future of the death penalty in the state. OU Nightly's Harry Robinson was in McAlester yesterday to find out where the abolition movement goes from here.
The scenes were jubilant in the aftermath of the news breaking that former death row inmate Julius Jones would live to see another day. But there was a feeling in the air that above all, there was work to be done. A feeling echoed in the words of Julius's family and supporters.
This is not a moment, but it is a movement. And we are going to continue to push for abolition.
If we are about racial justice in this country, we have to be about abolishing the death penalty.
2,504 inmates are currently serving a death penalty sentence in the US, with 44 of those based in Oklahoma. However, 10 people in this state alone have been exonerated from death row for either misconduct during prosecution or even complete innocence. With Governor Stitt granting clemency for Julius Jones in the 11th hour, are we seeing a gradual change in attitudes towards putting prisoners to death? The Julius Jones decision has brought a lot of uncertainty regarding the death penalty for those housed behind me on death row especially, and for campaigners. Devin Williams for Stop Executions Now is one of those campaigners fighting for justice.
There will be more children who will almost be guaranteed in Oklahoma to go to that prison just because of the zip code that they live in. All you have to simply do is not kill another human being. That has nothing to do with justice. That is good old-fashioned American bloodlust.
Whilst Jones's supporters celebrated, his family walked on, contemplating the challenge ahead. For OU Nightly, at McAlester, Oklahoma, I'm Harry Robinson.
To see more of our coverage from McAlester yesterday, visit the OU Nightly website.
Today, the Oklahoma State Department of Health reports 970 new cases of COVID-19. This brings the active case count to 8,801. The death toll sits at 11,772.
And now some news in COVID prevention. More than 30 million Americans have received a booster dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and now a significant number of the population is eligible to receive their shot as well. Bailey Coyle has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world. Bailey?
Thanks, Olivia. This afternoon, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention voted to recommend COVID-19 booster shots for all adults. The vote was unanimous and follows the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's decision to authorize the boosters. The CDC recommends getting this shot 6 months after receiving the first 2 doses. And this morning, House Democrats voted to pass President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion social safety net expansion legislation known as the Build Back Better Act.
This bill is monumental. It's historic, it's transformative, it's bigger than anything we've ever done.
The Build Back Better Act is a main part of Biden's policy agenda and will address the climate crisis, create a universal pre-K program, expand access to health care, affordable housing, and home care for the seniors. The legislation is expected to have major changes in the Senate. And Chinese tennis player Peng Shuai has not been seen by the public since November 2nd, after she accused a top Chinese government official of sexual assault.
We have reached out to her on every phone number and email address and other forms of contact. There's so many digital approaches to contact people these days that we have. And to date, we still have not been able to get a response.
The head of Women's Tennis Association is willing to pull the WTA out of China if she is not fully accounted for and her allegations are not properly investigated. And back in the U.S., Kamala Harris became the first woman to have presidential power while President Biden underwent a medical procedure. She held the power today for 85 minutes. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Bailey. And well, Jessie, the sun is shining, but the wind almost blew me away as I was headed to class today.
Hayden Giller is live in the studio with us to tell us about those windy conditions. Hayden?
Yeah, it has been quite windy in central Oklahoma these last couple of days. Today especially, we have had wind gusts across the state at 42 miles per hour and 41 miles per hour in Enid and Woodward. Here in Norman, it was only 29 miles per hour, but that's definitely enough to blow you over on your way to class, Olivia. Thankfully, if you were in a sheltered place, the wind wasn't so bad and the temperatures, well, they were a little bit chilly. In the mid-50s currently across the entire state. Unfortunately, those winds will stick around through the rest of the weekend. We have our weekend travel forecast ahead, and as well as a football weather forecast, because Jessie and Olivia, I hear there might be an important football game in Norman this weekend.
Yeah, Hayden, something like that. And a disturbing home surveillance video of a former NFL player abusing his partner has shaken up the football world.
We'll tell you more when we come back, and the story hiding beneath the surface of construction on a Norman road. OU Nightly returns. Former NFL player Zach Stacy is in police custody after graphic video shows him assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Graphic video from the home shows Stacy striking the woman multiple times in front of their 5-year-old son. When officers arrived to the Oakland home, they found the victim, who appeared to be, quote, emotionally distraught, wearing a torn shirt with food in her hair. Police also stated they observed a television had been knocked over after Stacy threw his ex-girlfriend into it. Stacy was arrested Thursday night at the Orlando International Airport.
Traffic is still taking detours around the road closure on West Imhoff Road in Norman. OU Nightly's Brooklyn Sweet reports on the construction and what to expect.
Since July 29th, Norman residents have been very familiar with the orange signs cautioning them about street repairs on West Imhoff Road.
We actually closed the road to traffic out of an abundance of caution. We determined that it was very serious, needed to keep the road closed, and we needed to change what was going to be minor maintenance and go to a major reconstruction.
The project became a state of emergency after realizing how serious the damage was to the bridge.
The biggest concern was an undermining of the road. There was a cavity of probably 3 feet wide and 10 feet long under the road, so there was nothing holding the road.
The city understands this is not an ideal spot for a several-month construction project. However, locals understand the need to get it done.
It's adding time to all of our travels, because all of the things that we would go to in the OU area are right down that road. It takes what it takes. You know, it's not safe to drive over. We need it fixed. It's going to take as long as it takes.
If weather permits, the road should be back in commission by January. If not, March at the latest. Brooklyn Sweet, OU Nightly.
The bridge replacement program is hoping to start new projects across Norman within the next 10 years to keep the city safe.
And a new coffee shop is brewing in Norman. OU Nightly's Hannah Gard shows us how this cult favorite could ramp up the competition along with the traffic on Main Street.
Dutch Brothers Coffee is spilling the beans on its Norman location.
When I was in my freshman year of university, there was a Dutch Bros location right off campus, and it's exactly what got me through my bad days and my good days.
The Western U.S. staple and university cult favorite now has over 400 locations. OU students from the West are welcoming the arrival of the drive-thru coffee stand.
I'm from Idaho, and there's a ton of Dutch Bros there, so I definitely make it a frequent stop when I'm back home.
Dutch Bros is known for its sugary drinks and its long lines.
Lines are going to be pretty hectic. For the people that know about Dutch Bros, I mean, they're going to be first in line.
Hamilton says the store will try to stay out of the Main Street traffic.
Sometimes our lines can get backed up, but we do the most that we can to make sure that we are staying out of other people's way. We're keeping the flow of traffic nice and easy.
But the new Dutch Bros Coffee is not the only coffee competition on Main Street, with Stella Nova Coffee right down the street. This isn't the first time the coffee game on Main Street has gotten steamy. Scooter's Coffee lives just a few blocks west on Main.
I think a lot of our customers are really loyal to us as a brand, and we fostered a lot of these relationships that I didn't see a noticeable decline specifically when Scooter's opened up.
Even so, Jones says the new shop could change their customer base.
Dutch Bros does also have a very faithful support system, so I think, at least in the beginning, we will see some sort of difference in our customers.
As for the students, some feel that the brand will become a Norman staple.
It's definitely got big college town energy. I think it's definitely going to be really popular here.
Others,
wait, what's it called?
Haven't heard of it. And some,
honestly, I probably make my own coffee, but if I were to go out, it would be Starbucks.
Might just stick to Starbs. Hannah Gard, OU Nightly.
Dutch Bros is hiring people 16 and up before the location plans to open prior to the spring semester.
And Hayden, what weather can we expect for the holidays?
Well, thankfully, we've got a good travel weekend ahead, but it will be a little bit colder as we head into Thanksgiving. More about that after the break. Welcome back to OU Nightly. If we look at our Oklahoma City skyline cam, you can see that clouds have really set in across all of, well, at least this skyline's view and really most of central Oklahoma. Earlier today, we had mostly sunny skies. Well, now we have mostly cloudy skies with temperatures in the mid-50s. And that south wind is our real menace at 16 miles per hour. And tomorrow morning, the winds should die down south at 14 by 8 a.m. tomorrow, but the temperatures should also come down with it. Across the state, we're expecting temperatures of 45, 43, even down near freezing in Guyman at 33 degrees. Thankfully, this weather should not affect travel for what is one of the biggest travel weekends of the entire year. Thanksgiving is next Thursday, and that means this weekend there is a lot of travel. If you're flying out of Will Rogers International World Airport tonight, well, the current temperature is 55 degrees and partly cloudy skies, at least over the airport, so there shouldn't be any weather delays. Thankfully, tomorrow, the same story. A little bit warmer, a little bit nicer conditions, but still no weather delays. And I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record, but Sunday, a little bit cooler, but thankfully still no weather delays. So on your way out of the airport to wherever you're going, barring mechanical delays, the weather should cooperate. But what about where you're going to? Well, here in Norman, we have 50-degree temperatures tonight, cooling all the way down to 46 degrees by midnight if you're staying here. But if you continue on to anywhere else, all across the country, the temperatures should be pretty cold come Thanksgiving. We have a cold front moving across the plains, and if you're going to be in Thanksgiving for Thanksgiving night, it'll be in the 20s and 30s anywhere you are across the Central Plains and northern United States. Here much closer to home, at 8 a.m. Thursday morning, say you're on a turkey trot, the temperatures will be in the mid-40s, and unfortunately, that's as warm as we get as a cold front moves through the area throughout the overnight hours and leaves us across the state at freezing temperatures come Friday morning. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, though, we have pretty nice weather bereft of Thanksgiving and the day after that, raising up to 70 degrees by Wednesday, cooling all the way down to temperatures with highs barely getting out of the 30s on Friday. Jessie and Olivia.
Thanks, Hayden.
Stay right there. Big Friday Sports is next.
say thank you to everybody all the way from Fresno, California, just being a Cali kid, a Cali Sooner. I just want to thank my teammates, my family, everybody. I mean, I love the Sooner Nation. It wouldn't never leave because of how much I love you guys and how much you guys have been there for me through all the ups and downs. And so, yeah, 19 out.
Welcome to Big Friday Sports. I'm Addie Crawford.
And I'm Ashley Velde. You know what they say, all good things must come to an end.
That's true. Caleb Kelly's career as a Sooner is over after experiencing another knee injury in Waco. It's our last show of the semester, and tomorrow's the last home game of the season.
That's right, Addie. The Sooners are back home this weekend to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. Both teams are looking to bounce back after each taking a loss last week.
It's a rematch of last year's Big 12 championship game, and the Sooners hope to come out on top again. This year is different as Iowa State is unranked and the Sooners are number 13. OU Speed D underperformed in Waco last week, and Brian Asamoah expects much bigger things for tomorrow's game.
We just got to go out there and do it. Like you said, it's a mindset, and I'm pretty convinced that everybody on our defense, wants to get off the field, wants to dominate the guy that's in front of them, because on the other side of that person is all the dreams and aspirations that you have as a football player. So dominate that one man that's in front of you, and behold.
Now let's toss it over to our Game Day U team. Can the Sooners get back to their winning ways, and do they still have a shot at the college football playoff?
Hey, Big Friday, we're the Game Day U travel team. I'm Kaylee Tinglestad, Caroline Grace, and Ben Thomas. We're here outside Lloyd Noble getting ready for basketball season, but right now we're going to keep it with football season and talk about, does OU have a chance to make it to the college football playoff?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think it will be very tough for the Sooners to get in there. A lot of dominoes would have to fall involving Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, Cincinnati, Michigan, etc. So for the Sooners, they're definitely on the outside looking in, and it is not looking too great for them.
Ben, I completely agree. I do not think that OU has a shot at the college football playoff anymore. Like you said, so many other teams that were already ranked ahead of them before they lost against Baylor. They were talking about a 9-0 team that was still ranked number 8 in the rankings. So I think that the best they can get is a good bowl game, and they're just going to have to move on.
It was already tough for the Sooners when they were undefeated, but with that loss to Baylor, like both of y'all said, there's too many teams ahead of them for them to be able to make their case. They haven't had any convincing wins against good teams, so I don't think OU stands a chance anymore. Now, OU kicks off with Iowa State tomorrow. What do we think the score is going to look like for that game?
I got 21-17 OU. I think it'll be a close game. I think maybe even a defensive battle, but I think the Sooners will still be able to take this one, win one for the seniors on senior day, and get themselves back on track for hopefully another Big 12 championship.
I'm going 24-21. However, I do think that a big factor that could change the score of this game, I'm going OU on top, is that there are 2 key defensive backs that will be playing this game that should be suspended the first half for targeting calls that didn't get called against Texas Tech. I'm so upset with the Big 12 about that. However, they are playing the game, so that could lead into a win for Iowa State, but as of now, I got 24-21 OU.
I'm going to say 27-21 OU, keeping it similar to y'all's. I think it's going to be a close game. Can't give OU too much of that lead. Hoping OU can come out with that lead, take that win home. It's a crucial win for the Sooners, especially after Iowa State with that loss against Texas Tech last weekend. But that's all the time we have for right now. Make sure to watch Game Day U tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube Live.
Now look at the pros. Former OU quarterback Kyler Murray is listed as a game-time decision on Sunday. Murray says he's hopeful he'll be ready to play after spraining his ankle more than 3 weeks ago. And as for former league MVP Cam Newton,
one score and threw for another in his return last week against the Cardinals. He will start on Sunday for the Panthers against the Washington football team.
And the Patriots sure are on a roll as they took their 5th straight victory last night against the Falcons 25-0.
Mac Jones threw a 19-yard scoring pass to Nelson Aguilar for the game's only offensive touchdown.
But the New England defense was the star of the show, sacking Falcons QB Matt Ryan 4 times and intercepting the ball twice. Don't go anywhere because the men's basketball team is playing right now in Myrtle Beach Invitational.
Stick around to hear how the unbeaten Sooners played yesterday and how they're doing.
The Oklahoma Sooners take on the Iowa State Cyclones in Norman tomorrow afternoon. Kickoff at 11 a.m., but it'll be a little bit chilly. 60-degree temperatures at kickoff, but those south winds, 15 to 20 miles an hour, might make it feel much, much colder than that. We only warm up to 68 by the end of the game, but those winds stay throughout the game. So while the wind may be moving the ball around, it'll also probably be moving jackets onto people's shoulders. So you probably want to bring a jacket if you're headed to the game tomorrow. Ashley and Addie.
Thank you, Hayden. And Sooners men's basketball is in action right now in the semifinal of the Myrtle Beach Invitational, playing Indiana State. Currently, OU is leading 38-30 at the half.
Last night, the Sooners defeated East Carolina 79-71. Jordan Goldwire and Emoja Gibson each scored 13 points.
Tanner Groves and Jalen Hill chipped in 12 apiece. The Sooners are looking to make it 4-0 under new coach Porter Moser.
From one beach to another, the women's basketball team is in the Bahamas for the Battle for Atlantis tournament, where they will face Oregon tomorrow at 4. The last time the Sooners played was Tuesday in their 78-54 win against Central Arkansas.
The ladies had a big night, forcing 28 turnovers, improving their record to 3-0 and making it their longest win streak since 2016. Going into the tournament, Coach Jenny Baranchik and her team's main focus is preparation.
I think you know, they're a very talented team. They get up and down. We faced 3 completely different styles of play, so I think we are prepared for some games. But really, the biggest thing for us is to not worry about who we're playing and to more focus on ourselves. We've got to continue to get better at things that we need to get better at, and that's really where our focus is going to remain.
Thank you for watching our last Big Friday Sports of the semester. I'm Addie Crawford.
And I'm Ashley Velde. Good night.